Hello students. In the previous session, we had studied until the seed in the chapter of Morphology of flowering plants. We have looked into the characteristics of different parts of the plant right from the root until the seed. Right? And in today's session, let us learn how to represent all these characteristics of a flowering plant in a symbolic way. Right? Or you can say the representation of the characteristics of a flowering plant in a semi-technical way. Right? See, why do we have to represent all these characteristics in a symbolic or scientific language? Why is that so? See, whenever you give the description of a plant, if you imagine if you are a botanist and if you go to a forest and you study some 100 plants, right? So when you observe one particular species, you need to note down the characteristics of that particular plant, and if you go on writing each and every characteristic with very long sentences, it will take a lot of time, and also that work will become very tedious, right? So in order to reduce the tediousness of the work, and also in order to give it a symbolic representation, we have got the floral formula and floral diagrams. Okay, so I will tell you what exactly is floral formula and floral diagram in today's session. Right? See, whenever we see a plant, we are going to list out the characteristics in a correct sequence, in a systematic order. So we will start with the vegetative characteristics like root, stem, leaf, and then we go for the generative parts of the plant, that is flower, parts of flower, that is a calyx, corolla, androecium, gynocium, then fruit, then seed. Right? So this is the correct order for explaining or describing any particular plant species. Right? So while giving the description, as I just told you, we classify the characteristics of the plant body into two different types, that is vegetative characteristics and generative characteristics. The generative characteristics are nothing but the reproductive characteristics, are mainly concerned with the characters of a flower, because we know flower is the reproductive part of the angiosperm plant body. Yes, so we basically represent the floral characteristics, means the characteristics of the flower in terms of formula or in terms of diagram. So this is the technical or semi-technical representation or symbolic representation of the characteristics of a flower of a particular species of angiosperm plant. Okay, in order to represent the characteristics in the form of a formula or a floral formula, we need to have certain symbols which represent their corresponding characters. Right? See, you know, bracts. If a flower is consisting of the bract, then it will be called as bracteate flower. Bracteate. Bracteate means the flower with a bract. It will be represented as BR. If the flower is not having the bract, then it will be called as E-bracteate. E-bracteate means absence of bract, and that will be represented as EBR, E-bracteate. If the flower is actinomorphic, you know actinomorphic, zygomorphic? Actinomorphic. So, actinomorphic symbol is like this, just one plus and a circle around it. Okay, this is the symbol for actinomorphic symmetry of the flower. And similarly, for zygomorphic symmetry, we are going to make use of the percentage symbol. This is the zygomorphic, the symbol for zygomorphic flower. Right? And then for calyx, capital letter K is used for calyx. For corolla, capital letter C is used. Right? For perianth, you know what is a perianth? It is a fusion of calyx and corolla. Right? So when calyx and corolla are fused there, it is called as perianth, and it is symbolically represented with capital P. For androecium, the letter used here is capital A. For Gynocium, The letter used here is capital G, right? So these are the basic symbols that we make use to write the characteristics of a flower of a species symbolically, or to give a floral formula, right? So it is very important for you to remember these symbols. Okay, these are the important symbols for their corresponding characteristics. Okay, I hope this is clear. And not only this, we can also show in the floral formula, along with the symbol, we can also show the fusion of one whorl with the another. Like for example, if the condition of the stamen or the androecium is epipetalous, that means stamens attached to the petals. That condition, how can we show that? Like, see, androecium, this is Corolla, you can show it like this. Okay, say for example, it is Epiphyllus Condition. See, when I'm using these technical terms, I'm hoping that you all have followed all the morphological aspects and all these technical terms which we have already considered in this chapter, right? Hoping that I'm making use of all these terms, and it is a must for you to learn all those things. Only then you will be able to understand this aspect of this chapter. Okay, if the perianth is there and anthers are attached, the stamens are attached onto the perianth, it is called as Epiphyllus condition. That can be represented like this, right? So I will show you with the appropriate examples when I consider the appropriate examples, right? So that is the, and even if the anthers are fused and they form bundles with themselves, like as we had seen monoadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous condition we had seen, isn't it? So especially for diadelphous condition, try to recollect, we had considered the example of pea flower. The pea flower, so 9 plus 1 condition, so 9 are fused and 1 is free. So when they are fused, 9 plus 1, 9 plus 1, 9 is bracketed to show they are all fused with each other, right? And so sometimes the calyx and corolla also are fused with each other, like gamosepalous condition or gamopetalous condition. That can also be shown with respect to with the help of brackets. Okay, so these are certain symbols that we make use to write the floral formula. Let us consider one example of the floral formula of mustard plant. Okay, so example, I'm giving you an example of mustard plant, mustard flower. Okay, see, this belongs to the family Brassicaceae, family called Brassicaceae. Okay, so what are the characteristics of this particular flower of the species called mustard? Okay, see, the flower is an actinomorphic flower. Okay, the flower is an actinomorphic flower and it does not have bract. Bracts are absent. You know what is a bract? At the base of the flower, a small leaf-like structure is present. That is what is called as bract. So bracts are absent. That is why I'm going to consider EBR. When the bract is absent, either you can write it like this, or you need not write. You need not at all mention about bract. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to consider here is the symmetry of the flower. The flower here is actinomorphic flower. That is why I am going to write it like this, actinomorphic flower, right? And the next one, after this one, we need to go for the calyx. How many are there? You are going to mention the calyx in terms of K. Capital K represents calyx is present, right? How many are there? The calyx are 2 plus 2. Why 2 plus 2? Why can't we write it as directly 4? Because so 2 plus 2 is also representing the arrangement of the sepals in the whorl of the calyx. Okay, see, 2 are outside and 2 are inside with respect to the aestivation of the calyx, right? Then corolla, there are 4. Corolla, there are 4. Corolla is represented with the letter C. Then androecium. Androecium is represented with the letter A. And how many stamens are there? How many stamens are there? That we are going to write like this. 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4. Okay, because here it is a typical in Brassicaceae, typically in the family called Brassicaceae, there are 6 stamens, and out of the 6, 2 are smaller and 4 are longer. Okay, see, that is why it is called 2 plus 2 condition, 2 plus 4 condition. Okay, it's also technically called as didynamous condition. It is called didynamous condition, right? Then Gynocium is represented with the letter G, and how many carpels are there or pistils are there? That is represented with the number 2, because it is bicarpellary ovary. There are 2 carpels, whether they are syncarpus or apocarpus. If they are apocarpus, that means free, then you need not bracket that 2. If it is a syncarpus condition, then you just have to bracket it like this. Then how to mention whether it is superior ovary or inferior ovary? If it is superior ovary, ovary is above. Superior means ovary is above. That means you should draw a line like this below G. Or in some textbooks they will give a line below that number. Okay, if it is inferior ovary, what we can do? You just write G like this and draw a line above. Inferior, below, kelagade. Right? If it is half inferior or half superior ovary, then the line is drawn here. Okay, so I hope you're understanding what I'm telling you. So this is the representation of the characteristics of a flower with the help of a formula, right? This is what is called as floral formula. This is called floral formula. And for this floral formula, let us see how can we draw the floral diagram for this. Okay, see, bracts are not there. EBR, ebracteate condition, need not worry about the bract. So actinomorphic condition is there. Actinomorphic condition means the flower can be cut into 2 equal parts in any plane, into 2 equal halves in any plane, right? Actinomorphic, keep that in mind. Then directly go to the calyx, that is sepals. How many are there? 2 plus 2, that is totally 4. 2 plus 2 represents what? 2 are outside and 2 are inside. How the arrangement is there? See, it is like this. And while drawing the calyx, see, observe carefully. While drawing the calyx, it should be having a sharp pointing end like this. Okay, pointing surface like this. So I am drawing the calyx in a circular fashion. Okay, it should be pointed like this. That represents what? Calyx. And also calyx is shaded like this. In some books they will shade it like this. In some books they might not shade it like this. This is representing what? The calyx. Okay, see, 2 plus 2 condition. Remember 2 plus 2 condition, why it is written like that? Because 2 of the sepals are outside and 2 of them are inside. You can see the overlapping here. 2 of the sepals are inside and 2 of them are outside, and that represents what? The aestivation of the calyx. Then corolla, how many are there? 4 are there, and the aestivation must be valvate aestivation in that. And while drawing the corolla, you must keep that in mind. When already first outer whorl you have to draw, which is the outermost whorl? The calyx that we have drawn now, right? The next inner whorl is what? Corolla. While drawing the corolla, you should keep one thing in mind. See, one corolla, one petal, it corresponds or it comes in between 2 sepals like this. See, this is one, this is one, this is one, and this is one more. See, you can see here there will be no pointed end or pointed sharp ending like this. It will be a smooth or blunt surface. Okay, see, corolla is represented like this, and the petal, one petal comes in between two sepals. One petal comes in between two sepals, right? So not exactly parallel, so it should be alternate. Okay, in between two sepals, one petal should come, right? Like that. And if they are fused, if the petals are fused or the sepals are fused, then maybe a line is drawn here like this. A line is drawn, but in this case they are not fused. That is why we are not drawing the line. Okay, or here if they are fused, then maybe a condition like this may be shown, that is showing the gamopetalous condition, right? So but here it is not fused, that is why we are not considering it, right? Then androecium, how many are there? 2 plus 4. 2 are smaller and 4 are bigger. And how to represent it? So we have to represent it like this. The 2 smaller, see, the androecium is written by this symbol. Okay, I hope you can see. 2 are there, and plus 4 which are bigger, they are surrounding the gynocium. See, gynocium will be exactly at the center. It is consisting of 2 carpels. It is a circular structure at the center. Okay, circular structure, and around that there are how many? 4 anthers. Okay, it will be like this. And the gynocium, here in the floral diagram we can also represent what type of placentation it is, whether it is axial or it is parietal or it is marginal or it is basal. So we can also represent the type of placentation in this case. And here in the case of brassicaceae, in the case of mustard, it is nothing but it is axial placentation. It comes like somewhat like this, axial placentation having 2 carpels. Okay, it is like this. So this is, and also to represent the axis of the inflorescence, axis is represented by a small 0 or a small circle. Maybe it is shaded like this, or just it is a small circle. So it is represented here. So this is representing, this circle is representing maybe completely shaded one or not shaded one. It is representing the axis, the floral axis with respect to the other whorls of a flower. Okay, so this is how we can write the floral diagram and floral formula for this particular plant, which is that mustard flower. Okay, I hope you can see all the characteristics in this particular one, in this particular example for floral diagram and floral formula. One more characteristic that we need to consider here is the monosexuality or unisexuality or bisexuality. That means if the flower is consisting of both the androecium or gynocium, or it is consisting of only the androecium and or gynocium. See, if the flower is unisexual, maybe it is consisting of only the androecium or only the gynocium, then in that case this will be represented like this, that is the male flower, or if it can be represented like this also, that is female flower, right? So this also has to be included in the floral formula, right? If it is a bisexual flower, then that means the flower is consisting of both the androecium and gynocium, that it will be represented, it should be represented like this. Okay, both male and female. So that we will have to consider here after this one, that is the actinomorphic symbol, that we need to consider that one. See, this is the actinomorphic symbol, and it is a bisexual flower. It is very clearly visible, both the androecium and gynocium are present. That is why we will represent it like this. It is a bisexual flower, right? I hope you are understanding. See, this is one more characteristic that you need to keep in mind. So first thing that we need to mention is bract. Okay, see, this is the first one. This is the which one? Actinomorphic or zygomorphic is the second one. This is the third one, and then calyx is the fourth one. Corolla is the fifth one. Then perianth. So perianth or this also will be considered under the same thing. When calyx and corolla both are there, then there is no question of perianth. Only when they are absent, then this is going to become the fourth one, right? Only in the absence of calyx and corolla. Then the which one? Androecium will become the sixth one. Gynocium will become the seventh one. So axis will be at the top. Okay, so axis we are not going to represent it in the case of the floral formula. It only comes in a floral diagram, right? So what can we represent in floral formula and floral diagram, and what cannot be expressed in the floral diagram and floral formula is, in the case of the floral formula, you cannot show the placentation, how the placentation is, what type of placentation it is there, right? Whereas in the case of the floral diagram, you cannot show what kind of ovary is there, whether the superior ovary is there or inferior ovary is there, right? So superior ovary or inferior ovary can be represented only with respect to the floral formula by drawing this line. If you draw this line below G, then it becomes superior ovary. If you draw that line above G, it becomes inferior ovary. So there is no indication of superior or inferior ovary with respect to the floral diagram. Okay, so this is about the floral formula and floral diagram, right? So similarly, we need to write the floral formula and floral diagram for two families. Also, we need to study the description of the family for two families in this year. That is, one is Solanaceae and other is Liliaceae. Solanaceae is the family of the brinjal family, and Liliaceae is the family, that lily family, or it is the family of onion. So these two families we need to study for this year. In fact, for the NCERT syllabus, there are three families. There is one more family called Fabaceae. That is the P family, P, okay, but that family has been deleted. That part of the syllabus has been deleted for this year. That is why we are going to consider only two families for this year. Okay, in the next session, let me consider the two families. First, we will write the description of the family. First, vegetative characteristics, then generative characteristics. Based on those characteristics, we will also write first the floral formula, and also we will draw the floral diagram, right? So that we will consider in the next session.